Also your screens off. Okay. Good morning, class. We begin with the new chapter, the Mughal Empire. Now, we last did about the various uh, kings ruling the Delhi Sultanate, and that was the time when we talked of the last among them was the Lodhis. And Ibrahim Lodi, he was defeated by Babur. You remember that in 1526? So after the first battle of Panipat in 1526, what happened was the Indian subcontinent was in chaos. That means the people were not consolidated. There was no powerful ruler to govern the entire Delhi Sultanate. And this led to a chaos. Uh, Leading to this, Babur came over and he fought the battle in the first battle of Panipat. He was victorious and he defeated Ibrahim Lodi and started the Mughal rule in India. So in this chapter, we will be dealing about Babur. We'll deal about Humayun. We'll say this. Then there's a short period of Sur dynasty with Sher Shah Suri, then Akbar, after him followed by Jahangir, then Shah Jahan, and then Aurangzeb. Okay, so let us come to the chapter and begin. In the 15th century, India was divided into many states which were always fighting with each other. There was no power strong enough to control them. The Delhi Sultanate had become weak and inefficient. Weak and ineffective. The last of the Lodi sultans, Ibrahim Lodi, was inefficient and cruel. He insulted Daulat Khan Lodi, the governor of Punjab. Daulat Khan Lodi and Rana Sanga, the ruler of Mewar, wanted to end the rule of the Lodis. They invited Babur, the ruler of Kabul, to invade Delhi. Babur marched to Delhi in 1526 AD and defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the first battle of Panipat. This battle ended the rule of Lodis and the Delhi Sultanate. So here they are telling you that in the 15th century AD, the country was divided into many small states, and they were fighting with each other. There was no consolidation. There was no power which was good enough, strong enough to control the country. And so the Delhi Sultanate had become very weak. The rulers were ineffective. And the last was Lodi Sultan, the ruler called Ibrahim. Very my whole house is shouting him. इसके मम्मी पापा चिल्ला रहे हैं फोन पर. Okay, so it was the Lodi Sultan, Ibrahim Lodi, who was a very inefficient ruler and at the same time he was very cruel. So what happened was he insulted a man called Daulat Khan Lodi. Now he was the governor of Punjab. Please underline Daulat Khan Lodi and underline governor of Punjab. Daulat Khan Lodi was the governor of Punjab and Rana Sanga. He was the ruler of Mewar. Now these two, what they did was they invited Babur to come over from Kabul, and Kabul is in Afghanistan, okay? And they called upon Babur. They invited Babur to come and invade the Lodhis, invade Delhi, and put an end to the Lodi Empire under Ibrahim Lodi, okay? So it was then that in 1526, Babur came and he fought a victorious battle. The first battle of Panipat was fought, and Babur ended the Lodhi's rule in India, and the Delhi Sultanate came to a stop, and then began the rule of Babur. Okay, Babur came to power. Now we talk of Babur, 1526 AD to 1530 AD. Zahiruddin Babur, please underline his full name, Zahiruddin Babur. He was the first king of the Mughal dynasty, and he was born in a small place called Fargana. Please underline Fargana, the place where he was born. It is in Central Asia. He was popularly known as Babur, which means lion. So Babur means, the meaning of Babur is lion. He became the ruler of Fargana at the tender age of 11. He was very small. He was just 11 years old when he became the king of a place called Fargana, where he was born in 1491 AD when his father died. Please underline that year in which Babur acquired the throne of Fargana, 1491 AD, after the death of his father. Those were the most difficult days of his life. His attempts at the conquest of Samarkand had failed. Samarkand is also a place in Afghanistan. And there he tried to capture Samarkand, but he failed. Soon he conquered Kabul. Now, then after that, after Samarkand, he went to conquer Kabul. The two important till now, 1491, became the king of Pargana, and then the other one is 1504, where he conquered Kabul. Okay. Okay. Now, Babur was attracted by India's wealth that led him on an expedition to India. He wrote pleasant things of Hindustan, that it is a large country and has masses of gold and silver. So basically, it was Babur who was attracted by the wealth of India. And that is the reason, good enough, why he attacked India and tried to establish his rule over here. Okay, he was attracted by India's wealth. And he wrote also that it is a country which is full of big, huge masses of gold and silver. Babur was one of the most illustrious men of his age. Illustrious means very elaborate. He was deeply learned in Persian and Arabic. That means these were the two languages he knew. He was a learned man and wrote a very perspective autobiography. Now, as you can see, autobiography can only be written by a person who is well versed, who is literate enough. Not no, any Tom, Dick, and Harry cannot sit and write. Writing is a great, and writing an autobiography, that means writing about himself. Okay, so, and what was the name of the book that he had written? Babar Nama. It is an autobiography, or it is also known as Tuzuke Babri in Turkish. So, in Turkish language, which was his mother tongue, he wrote it Tuzuke Babri, and whereas the other name is Babar Nama. In it, Babur has described the physical features, climate, animals, birds, flowers, fruits, and the life and condition of the people of the places he visited. He was a great teacher and a good man. Babur had great love for flora and fauna. That means for flora is the plant life, fauna is the animal life. So he was very learned man. He had great interest. He, wherever he visited, he described in that book, Babar Nama, the various places which he had visited. He talked about the physical features of that place, the climate, animals, birds, flowers, fruits, life of the people, conditions of the living conditions of the people at that place. And he was a great leader, okay, and a good general. So all in all, he was a great man, and he was a naturalist. Why? Because he loved the natural things of life, the plant life and the animal kingdom. I hope I'm clear till here. Now, soon Babur defeated Rana Sangha of Mewar. You remember, Daulat Khan Lodi and Rana Sangha had called him. So after once he decided that he would settle here. What he did was, Rana Sangha did not like the idea that Babur is going to stay here. Why? Because he had invited him just to remove Ibrahim Lodi. But after removing, Babur himself proclaimed the king of Delhi. So this was not liked by Rana Sangha. And so Soon the battle was fought, and the name of the battle was Battle of Khanwa. Battle of Khanwa. It was fought in 1527 AD. Please remember these dates. Battle of Khanwa was fought between Rana Sanga and Babur, in which Rana Sanga was defeated. Now, and the Afghan chief, that Daulat Khan, you remember Daulat Khan Lodi, at the Battle of Ghagra. The next battle was called Battle of Ghagra. It was fought in 1529 AD. Though Daulat Khan Lodi was the governor of Punjab, but actually he was the Afghan chief. Okay, under the leadership of Nusrat Shah, the ruler of Bengal. So the ruler of Bengal helped Babur in this battle, Battle of Ghagra, 1529. These battles firmly secured Babur's position in northern India. Now, after the Battle of Panipat, he established his rule in 1526. In 1527, Battle of Khanwa, he defeated the great Rajput ruler Rana Sanga of Mewar. Then in 1529, with the help of Nusrat Shah, the ruler of Bengal at that time, 1529. So these battles, they deeply confirmed and secured the position of Babur. In short, a period of 4 years, Babur was in possession of territories from Indus to Bihar and from the Himalayas to Gwalior. From Indus to Bihar, from Himalayas to Gwalior, he had occupied a huge Indian subcontinent. He died on 30th December 1530 AD, where he was buried in Agra. Later, his body was reburied in an open garden in Kabul as per the direction of his will. So, though he was buried in Agra, but later on, his will, according to his will, he was taken there and to Kabul and he was reburied there. Okay. So we learn about the Mughals from a number of books written during this period. I'm sorry, I thought Humayun's sister Gulbadan wrote his biography. Now the name of the sister is Gulbadan. Okay. Humayun was his son and his sister Gulbadan wrote his biography. Many court historians like Abul Fazl, travelers like Frenchman Bernier, and Christian missionaries like Father Rudolph have left behind very valuable accounts. We also have letters written by emperors, royal orders called firmans, and even writings of traders. Many of the manuscripts were beautifully illustrated. So these are the written sources which tell us in great detail about the time and the work done during that time. Okay, so Babur Nama and Jahangir Nama. These are the two autobiographies. Okay, we next come on to the ruler who followed after Babur, and it was no one else but Humayun, his son. Babur was succeeded by his eldest son Humayun. The other sons of Babur were, please underline the names of the sons, Kamran, Hindal, and Askari were the three other sons. That means Babur had 4 sons, Humayun, Kamran, Hindal, and Askari. Now Nasiruddin Muhammad Humayun succeeded him as Badshah in 1530. So it was in 1530 that Babur was succeeded by Humayun. And what was his full name? Nasiruddin Muhammad Humayun. Okay, the new rulers called themselves Badshah. Sorry, the new rulers called themselves Badshah or Padshah. Please underline. They started calling themselves as Badshah or Padshah to show that they were far superior than a sultan. Just to show their supremacy, instead of calling them sultans like earlier, they started calling themselves as Badshah or the other name Padshah. Humayun had a very turbulent life as a ruler. Now, when Humayun took over the throne in 1530, he had a very tough time to face. And the whole life of Humayun could be divided into 4 dramas. There were 4 stages of his life. Now, the first act was the first part of his drama full of life full of drama, was 1530 to 1540. He struggled to maintain his kingdom as he fought Sher Shah Suri of Bihar and Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. So, as soon as he came to power, he had two major forces to fight with. Sher Shah Suri, he was of Bihar, and Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. Okay, Sher Shah Suri of Bihar and Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. Now, if you see Sher Shah Suri here, 1530 to 1540, it was during this time, 1540, when Sher Shah Suri took over the power and he threw Humayun away. So Sher Shah became the ruler. See, a short period of Sur dynasty. Sher Shah Suri. We will be reading for 1540 to 1545, which will come. So this was the first act, where as soon as Humayun came to power in 1530, he ruled for 10 years. In 1540, Sher Shah was a threat to Humayun, and he took over the power from Humayun. Now, so first part of life of Humayun was a struggle, and he had to fight with Sher Shah Suri and Bahadur Shah. Now, in the second act, from 1540 to 1545, that means the time when Sher Shah Suri had taken over. See where was Humayun at that time? After he was defeated by the Afghan Sher Shah Suri, he became a king without a kingdom, wandering in Sindh, Rajasthan, and Persia, looking for shelter and help. So these were the three places where he kept wandering. Then Afghan Sher Shah had defeated him. Okay, so this was the second part of his life. And he kept on asking for shelter and help during this time. Then in the third act, from 1045, it should be 1545 to 1555, he made preparations to recover the lost territories in India by making Kabul his base. So see, in 1545, Sher Shah had died. So again, he took over the part. This was the third part. From 1545 to 1555, he again came back to recover the lost territories of India in India. And from Kabul, he maintained and managed all this. Then the final act was 1555 and 56. He got back the throne of Delhi. But unfortunately, he did not live long for this. He tumbled down from his library in Sher Mandal in Purana Killa. Now, this is a place in Purana Killa. There's a library there where he was in the library when he slipped and died. Okay, in 1556. So these are the four stages in which his life could be summarized. Read what Gulbadan writes about her brother who was defeated in the Battle of Chausa. Please know this. This was the battle fought between Sher Shah Suri and Humayun. Okay, let us see. Gulbadan can you hear me now? In those days, the Majesty had a certain area, as he had been at Chaucer and it served out of the current. Majesty
Ma'am, ma'am,
said,
ma'am, your voice is not coming.